up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors to episode 162 are open. This week on the show, we're talking about Minecraft Steve coming to Super Smash Brothers. I was about to say Super Smash Bros. Brawl for some reason. No.
Oh, yes, the right game.
I mean, Project M is probably in it. I'm not quite sure. No. And to talk all about that is my best mate. It's Bryce DeWitt.
Oh,
hey. How you going, mate?
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah. There was no last week, so.
No, there wasn't actually, yeah.
No, yeah. I think...
So where were you last week, Bryce?
I was sick.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, and this good old Denty boy appointment that you had to have Friday last week was like, well, this is the third time you've had to reschedule it, so
yep.
I'm like, all right, I'm not getting you sick. It's late. You know what? We can just let you do a solo episode. Come back to it next week, and wait for you to be all right and all over your tooth.
Yeah. So speaking of, I guess, the dentist appointment, that's why this week's episode is a bit late. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Did tell you last week, though, so if you didn't listen to last week's, that's on you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
harsh.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, no?
Yeah.
So, yeah, had 4 wisdom teeth out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody that's had wisdom teeth out knows how that goes. KOs you for a little bit.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't too bad for me. I woke up out of being knocked out after the operation. I sort of just like woke up and, it's finished. I turned over, looked at the clock. Oh, it's about 11:15. Must have took about an hour. But like before getting knocked out, all I remember is laying there. Then all of the next minute, I'm just waking up.
Plonk. Yeah.
So that's how you want it.
That's what it does.
Yeah, it's good. That's my first time ever going under. So
yeah. As I was talking to you about it before, I had mine done when I was 8, but my wisdom teeth were terrible. If like you can't tell with me hiding behind my microphone, my dentals are obviously not great due to some problems when I was a kid. So it was sort of like when I had mine done, all 4 of them were like rotten, like black. So unfortunately, when I was like 8, they had to put me under, and they put me under some pretty heavy shit. They kept me in bed for about 3 days at the Women's and Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very pleasant, but yeah, I'm glad you didn't have to stay that long.
No, I was home by lunchtime,
Which is good.
I was eating my ice cream and jelly.
Yep. Yes. The staple. Yeah,
It's good. It's actually really good ice cream they gave me. I was like, what's this brand? I don't get it.
It's probably like Bulla or something, more than likely. I think Bulla do.
I don't think it was. I looked at it, but I forgot the name, the brand name.
Bulla, Golden North.
Could it be Golden North?
Golden North. Yeah, it could be Golden North. You should be able to buy that at your Woolies.
I'm sure you could.
Should be able to buy that at your Woolies.
Speaking of brands, Bryce, you brought over some beverages here.
I did, yeah.
So what is this?
I don't know. It's Kaiju Crush.
Kaiju Crush beer, tropical pale ale.
Tropical pale ale, yeah. So I don't know how it's going to go.
Well, let's see what it tastes like.
All right. It said new at Woolworths. So I was like...
Oh, it doesn't smell good. It doesn't smell good.
It smells like pineapple.
Oh, no, I hate pineapple. And pale ale. Pineapple and pale ale.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad. It just tastes like pale ale.
Yeah.
With a bit of sweetness. Yeah, it's not too bad. I'll drink it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm kind of hoping you would, because there is more.
Yeah, you got 4 more there.
So,
all right.
I don't think we're going to drink them all, but, maybe one more would be nice.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got about an hour show for you all, and it turns into 3 hours because we're on bloody tropical pale ale.
Yeah, exactly. Tropics.
It's not the tropics down here at the moment. It's just like the weather is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's the Arctics. It's terrible down here right now.
Yeah.
It has been for about a week.
Yeah, I absolutely love it though. It's just excellent time to put on the fire and everything, sit around, play some video games.
Yeah, I can't disagree, but I think the problem is that at the moment we're kind of like through a very serious change in like how seasons are starting to work.
Yeah, they're very delayed. And then, on top of that, what was it, last week we had 2 pretty hot days in consideration to what we've been having for the last like 4 months. Yeah.
And then it just went back to shit again straight after.
Yeah. And it's like with all of this, I watched something on Netflix last night, David Attenborough's This Is Planet Earth.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely fantastic. Like he sort of went through like his life and how the climate and everything sort of changed in his lifetime. I didn't realize he was 93 years old.
Yes, he is.
He's holding up very well.
He is.
I thought he'd be like in his like early 80s.
No, absolutely
maybe.
not. No, he is. He is. Yeah, because I think it was last year or the year before or something like that. He was knighted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like 90 in his 90s. Yeah, and it was just like, okay then.
No, so just like, obviously nothing to do with video games, but I definitely recommend going and checking that out. And because he's sort of like the first half, he lays everything out of, how our world is, going downhill.
Oh, absolutely.
For the next 100 years. But then it's like, all right, this is how we can try and set it on the right track. It's like, as young people, I guess 30s or 20s or whatever, I think it's pretty important to actually like really think about some of this stuff. And like, even some of the small things like working in hospitality, being like, do you want a straw? It's like, no, you don't. Okay. So like no straws and like, just like little silly things like that is like, it's kind of annoying having paper straws and metal straws. Your drink doesn't taste as good, but it's definitely not worth producing those things for that little bit of convenience.
I don't really get it either.
No, like I don't really use straws unless like, I don't know, it's given to me or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. I think it's just like, I get it. It's a little bit messier. Sometimes you get a bit of a taste out of a straw, but really, if it's a beverage, it's going down anyway.
Yeah, I think usually it's the ladies because they don't like getting lipstick on the glass.
It doesn't matter.
No, it obviously doesn't matter. It's like, well, should we get another 50 years out of our Arctic, or you're going to get our glasses dirty? But then it's like you're not using a straw when you're drinking like red wine or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and they're usually the culprit.
Yeah, they're the culprit.
They're like the red wine is usually the culprit with the lipstick. So it's sort of just like, if you're going to do that, then I suppose do it with a red wine. But at the same time, you should just think of it this way: if you're going to do it to a red wine glass, what's the point of doing it to a schooner glass?
Yeah,
you might as well just fucking treat it the same way and just drink from the source rather than the straw.
Yeah. So anyway, definitely recommend if you have Netflix, go and check it out. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but no,
definitely recommend
it. It is on my watch list actually.
Yeah, I actually tweeted out about it because it finished. I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah,
because it's all the stuff like that the Arctic's melting. It's because of man-made factories and all this stuff. Like, like a lot of people know that, but it's just like put out and like with a bit more information and stuff, like you can
just
reevaluate
like
it.
Going off that, when I walked in, I actually talked to Chantel. I was like, it's goddamn freezing or whatever, and I had a quick discussion. I'm like, my mother's partner, he's a gardener, so he's always very on point about like, and very like nitpicky about how his garden's doing and all that stuff. And he said that like something in particular took an extra month and a half to bloom. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right. That's insane to think about, because that wasn't like that in previous years. It's only just been like, as it's come through to this year, that it's really starting to show. But so is with everything else, obviously.
I would say like the last 2 years have been really noticeable, just especially in rainfall. Like this July has been actually bone dry, which is super unusual, especially down here, because in the southeast we usually get real high rainfall.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Back when my dad was younger, like the place would literally flood in wintertime. Now it doesn't flood at all, and now it's in September. It's starting to rain a lot more from September. What is it now? It's to October and so on.
Yeah.
So it's like really delayed, and you can sort of actually start seeing some of the effects of some of the stuff. So yeah,
it's unfortunate.
It is, but it's sort of up to us and the younger people to step up and try and make some changes. But
which is harsh, because we've got like over 100 years of technical revolution to sort of reorganize. And
and like a lot of people point out that in that documentary he doesn't actually like call out capitalism for a lot of these things. Like it's easy for us to go, all right, I'm not going to take the car that often this week, and I'm going to catch public transport, whatever you can do. But at the end of the day, if some of these companies see dollar signs and it's not necessarily the good thing for the planet, they don't care.
No.
So, it's a hard situation to be in. But that's some of the stuff I think talking about Nintendo games takes our mind off a bit. So let's jump into that, Bryce. So it's been a real cold week. It's good weather for playing video games. Some of the best weather, I would say. What have you been playing, man?
So I've been playing the infamous Breath of the Wild clone.
Ooh.
Genshin Impact.
Yes, I'm keen to hear about this.
All right, so it came out last week, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people sort of went into it thinking, it's free to play, right?
Yep.
So you can play it on your mobile, PC, PS4. And a lot of people were sort of going in it with the intent of, it's a Breath of the Wild clone. Then this is the same thing that had that one guy smashing his PlayStation in protest in public and shit like that. Like, okay.
You got to do what you got to do,
It was developed primarily as a mobile game, which confuses me even more because it's just like, okay, well, you just smashed your PlayStation in protest over a mobile game, but that's great. You do you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess preface warning, when you go into Genshin Impact, you need to know one thing, and that is it is a gacha game. If you've played Dragalia Lost, Mario Kart Tour, whatever that's been released by Nintendo, you know what a gacha game is. Surprise mechanics, loot boxes, EA's, surprise mechanics favorite thing. And it is that, and it does have some of the worst surprise rates of any game.
Cool.
in that market. I think there's a little bit of excusable to it because it is such a big game, but in saying that, it's a single player experience mostly.
Yeah.
So to be completely honest with you could not spend a dime and you could probably just have just as much fun.
So I guess just to clarify, what are you actually getting from these drops or whatever?
So,
are they power ups? Are they cosmetics? Or?
So from the gacha, no, characters and weapons. So
okay. So they're a pretty big part of the game then.
A pretty big, but that doesn't mean everything's not achievable with just the base roster.
Right.
I think, you can go into the game, you can craft your own weapons, and your crafted weapons can actually turn out to be just as good as some of like the gacha rolled ones or whatever have you. But you will probably miss out on some characters that they do use in the story a fair bit, but they put them in the gacha. So I guess like the primary example probably to begin with is Venti, who you spend a lot of time with in the first part of the story, is currently on a limited gacha. So in about 10 days, he's going away for a while because he's a limited time only release. So unfortunately, it is that sort of like almost predatory if you get the wrong person type of thing.
Yeah.
So do be careful how you spend your money because there are people out there that have dropped. There was one guy who said he was very willing to drop 10K on this game.
Ooh.
He dropped 7 to get everything he wanted. Fuck. $7,000. Yeah. So when you go into this game, try not to pay too much attention to the gacha unless you've got free rolls. Don't do yourself the hindrance and invest more than what the game's worth in it, please. Because it is a great game and it is very, very pretty well, it is very well developed and there is like co-op aspects to it. And it is very Breath of the Wild in how there's little challenges everywhere. It's got a bit more of a straightforward story than Breath of the Wild does. So if you wanted a bit of a straightforward story, it's there, which is nice.
Is there like a more linear path to go on rather than just obviously in Breath of the Wild you'll
No. It is all just right in front of you. Like it is very much like if you could see it, you can go there. There's no loading zones unless it's into dungeons, aka like shrines. It is very much built off the same system that Breath of the Wild has, which is like freedom. Freedom to do whatever the hell you want. And there is a lot of that in this. There is mobs and camps to take down, treasure chests to find, world bosses to fight, stuff like that. It is all there in the core experience of Genshin Impact. The thing that it has over Breath of the Wild is it does have a more established story to follow, which is good. Whereas Breath of the Wild's, more established story, I suppose, is more looking back on the past, which doesn't seem to excite a bunch of people. It definitely did it for me. I quite liked how Breath of the Wild told its story. But if you want something that's more like the here and now, Genshin Impact has that as a story. It's like you are here now, and this is your job.
Yeah. So you're actually pretty compelled by the story.
Yeah, I've kept pretty interested in it. Like there's a whole like. I guess like Breath of the Wild, there's a bunch of provinces. They all have their own dealings and the way they deal with things. They all have their own gods. You know, it is quite like interesting. And I think you know, there's a good thing about that. It does a very good thing like Breath of the Wild does as well, and that is how you use elements to your advantage. So in Breath of the Wild, obviously, if you light a patch of grass on fire, it can spread into a wildfire. You can use that for multiple purposes. If you use Cryonis on water, you can use that to manipulate water or do whatever. And just little things like that, I suppose. Genshin Impact is very much the same in that it has 7 elements and they all interact with each other in a unique way. So if you use wind on a fire patch, for example, it turns it into like a fire tornado and stuff like that. And you can incorporate that in combat and stuff, which is really fun. Of course, this is kind of a little bit gated by your character choices, which is where the gacha's kind of like, you know, it does seem compelling to spend money on somebody where it's like, well, this character can summon a tornado like pretty quickly. And if I combine that with my fire character, I can make fire tornadoes or water tornadoes or like thundernadoes or whatever, you know. But I think, you know, if you wanted to play this game entirely free to play, it's not that hard to. And a lot of people do play it free to play and still get very successful.
Personally, how much have you spent on it?
I've put about the amount of a full cost game in it. Only because I'm sort of like, all right, I support.
Yeah.
I support good things.
Yeah, I've got no problem with a game like if you're playing a game like Genshin Impact and you're like, this is fun. Here's some money. Like there's
that's right. Yeah.
Nothing bad about it. It's only when it's like really egregious type of thing where it's like, you know, we need your money right now. It's like, well, you haven't really given me a reason to give you the money yet.
It's a free to play. It's a free to play game, like first and foremost, and that's great. But it is sort of like there's only 2 regions you can sort of go to now, and there's going to be 8 all up in total. But it's still pretty big regardless. Like the world is still filled with things to do. So really, it is quite, you know, worth your time as a free to play player as it is. So for me to say, all right, I'd probably buy this for $80, to be honest. So I'd put a bit of money on the game, and then I would sort of just, you know, put that investment in it, get some extra goodies, do whatever, and move on. That being said, you know, there are things that they need to change about that. And like, for example, like getting a 5-star character, I think the pity, and this is where I'm going to talk about like cash and whatever in the game, because like I said, the game is great, but the cash shop is terrible. I think the pity is 90, right? So 90 pulls, and you were guaranteed a 5-star character at that 90 pulls. Outside of that, it is 0.6%. So if you see something on a banner and you're like, oh, I want that, you know, the chances are pulling it at 0.6%, you're probably not going to get it until you hit that 90 pulls. And even then, at 90 pulls, you're not guaranteed to get it. Only at 100, well, at 90 pulls, you're not guaranteed to get the featured unit. You're just guaranteed to get a 5-star. If you want the featured unit, you're gonna have to pull 180. So I've done the math, right? And to get, was it 110 pull? It's 25 US. So roughly, it's about 9-10 pulls. So that makes it about. Shit, I had it in my head. $225 to get a 5-star. If you don't break the pity before that point, right? And that makes it an egregious. On top of that, $450 if you want the guaranteed front unit of that banner.
Jesus.
And this is why I'm being very like, don't spend too much money on this. Don't be like those people that are on YouTube putting $7K on this game and being like, look at all this shit I'm getting, because it is
especially if they're a bigger channel where they can like. Use that to pull in views and pay for it.
That's exactly right. And the thing is, it's like content creators are also like on Twitch and stuff like that. They're all getting donations to roll.
Yeah, because I've noticed this game, it's been heavily advertised. Like every single ad on my YouTube is Genshin Impact. So you can tell that they're just pumping money into it. I noticed a content creator I follow like a lot. Like I watch all of his videos, A Drive, who typically does Pokemon content. he was sponsored by Genshin Impact to do a stream.
Yep.
And like, you know, they're putting like a lot of money. So if you're seeing like people getting decent pulls from your favorite content creator, it very well could be just like it's set up to look like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but you know, they're definitely throwing a lot of advertising money around for this game.
Let's put it this way: it is a free-to-play game, right? In its first week, it made $60 million. That's a lot of fucking money.
It's not too bad, is it?
That is a lot of money. It came second place in accordance to something else. I can't remember what the first was, but the first one was like a long time running game that's been on the platform
Clash
for a
of
while.
Clans or something.
Something like that. It only came second to that, and so that tells you how much money people are sort of dumping in on this.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, the experience is great. And you know, if there's a gacha you're gonna play where you're like, oh, you know, I'll put a bit of money on this just because I'm enjoying the experience. This is probably the game that's gonna do that to you.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like such a bad idea. Like, I don't know, like something like Breath of the Wild. Obviously, you pay the initial money and you play it, and you can play as much or as little as you want. Then with the DLC, you can put another $30 on it, and you get a bit more content. With this, are they going to continually put out updates for content?
Yes, yeah.
So that's a good side for this type of model, where they're just constantly adding to it, and they're making their money through people's engagement with the game.
You've got 2 nations at the moment. There's going to be a total of 8. So there's going to be, you know, 6 major content updates before, you know, the whole game is technically completed in terms of the map alone. And that's not including like, you know, any additional content updates like new dungeons or new features or new ways to play the game, or, you know, there's going to be a whole lot of sort of that stuff that comes out for free. Like it is like that unified unit. But, you know, there is no point in supporting a monetization scheme in a gacha system if it's not friendly to the player, to the point, you know, where you have to spend thousands of dollars to get anything you want. I would say, you know, if you want to put $80 on the game, you know, put the price of what you would pay for that game on that game.
Yeah.
Because it is quite the experience for a free-to-play game. But, you know, you're not helping, especially these YouTubers, and I wish I could ever get through to them. Like, you know, you're really not helping anybody by whaling the shit out of this game and sending the message that people will fucking buy into it. Because at the end of the day, you might have that money to spend and you whale the shit on it and you'll get what you want. But the cries of the people who are like, you know, this is unfair practice. 0.6% is bullshit. It's the lowest gacha rate in any gacha game, and that needs to change.
Yeah.
You're sending the message that it doesn't really fucking matter, and as long as we've got content creators, you know, we've got people sending their money in as donations for them to roll, you know, and stuff like that, which is kind of crap.
I mean, it is hard because, like, if I was developing a game and I had people say, "Hey, man, I'm going to spend $8,000 on your game so I can actually get all the stuff," I'll be like, "Yeah, all right." You know?
Oh yeah, and
it's like you can't blame them.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, but I am saying like you've got to fight for the little man. You know, like when I was in discussion about it on the subreddit, actually, somebody said like all gacha games are, you know, pretty predatory, or, you know, there's no such thing as a generous gacha game. But every time I think about a generous, like the words generous and gacha next to each other, I do think of Dragalia Lost, and that is in comparison to like putting that against any other sort of gacha title that Nintendo's put out, whether that or, you know, a Nintendo related property like Pokemon Masters or Mario Kart Tour. Dragalia Lost has been extremely generous its entire life, and it does show that it doesn't earn as much money as other gacha games, but it is very well highly regarded as one of the most free to play friendly games on mobile. And to say that for a Nintendo game, you know, that's a bit different, you know, considering Nintendo won't even drop the price of their first party games after 5 years of them being out.
Yeah.
You know. So that does really say something, that Dragalia Lost is actually quite generous considering the fact, and Nintendo were the ones that are like, games, just give them what they want. You know, it's weird to hear them say that. But even then, like most of the time, Dragalia's rates are like 6%, and they climb with every 10 pull you do. But you also get free currency all the time from the developers. They just toss it at you like it's
Keep you hooked.
Birdseed.
Yeah, it's like, come on, come back.
It keeps you playing, yeah. But the way they encourage that game is they don't ever really encourage you to spend money for pulls. They don't really give you a reason to do it. So it's sort of just like, well, that's how it is. But when you take that 6% rate that climbs, and they have a pity system now, which is like, after, the
pity system.
The pity system. After 300 rolls in Dragalia, you can pick the unit you want, but you'll also probably get a lot along the way because the rates climb with every 10-fold by like 5%, and then, because most of your rolls are free, it's whatever. But like in comparison to something like that, that's like quite generous, and then looking at Genshin Impact, where your chances are 0.6%. So literally 10 times less.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really not good. And I feel like what they want to do is they do want, to have like a wide array of unique characters and stuff like that, and still have a monetization scheme out of it, which is nice, like that's fine. Some of the 4 stars, it's hard to explain, but the more copies you get of a certain character, up to 6 times, the more powerful that character is going to be. You don't actually get multiple copies of that character.
Right. Yeah.
So if you roll them twice, they get powered up. You're like, cool, all right, no worries. And that's great and everything, but that makes doing it for 5 stars almost literally and virtually impossible, because it's 0.6%. That is absolutely abysmal, and your chances of rolling that same 5-star character when there is a whole pool of 5-star characters in that one banner to get a maxed out character, you're going to be spending ridiculous amounts of money.
Right,
and it does gate the game away from people who don't have the future knowledge of what the lottery numbers are going to be,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even think a millionaire would whale $1 million on this game and still probably get everything they wanted.
Yeah. I guess just moving away from just, don't waste your money, just be responsible. Do you get the same sort of feeling as Breath of the Wild, or like an open world game where you're like, oh, what's that? And that really good sense of discovery?
It is all there. And that's like what I was saying before. Like, if you were looking for that experience, it's all there.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a go. I was going to play it on iPad because I'm like, I can just sit down the iPad and...
I played it on my $700 iPad.
Did you? Yeah. See,
Works well.
Yeah, I was going to do that, but had no controller support, so I'm like, oh...
It won't yet, yeah.
I'll wait until it gets updated, because I don't want to be holding the iPad like it's a big Game Boy type of thing. But
they are listening, and I believe they'll get it implemented as soon as they can.
Yeah.
So that's good. The other option, I suppose, is always the PS4.
Yeah.
If you feel like picking that up.
Yeah, I sort of... I had other things to play, but I'll talk about that once it's my turn, I guess. But yeah, just a lot to play at the moment. So I thought, I'll just leave it until there's the update, so it's a bit more friendly on controls for me.
Well, I guess to summarize it, I guess, is that if you are looking for a Breath of the Wild experience and you like don't mind the anime aesthetic, it's pretty good. And if you're happy to just play it as free to play, that's probably the way you're going to enjoy it most. And
it is still coming to Switch, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It just does not have a defined release date. So
do we know if it's like 2021 or this year, or
they haven't really said anything.
Oh, no.
Like, I think at this point it's safe to say 2021, but I think they were aiming for 2020. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully it's got like cross save and that, because like you said, the PC and the mobile version do have cross save.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas PS4, I don't think it does.
Right. So that's a bit weird, but
yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is there. I think I'm not sure. I just remember people complaining a lot about
whether that's a Sony thing or a hardware thing, or I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't actually put it on my PS4 myself to see, so yeah, I could be wrong, but there is some sort of compatibility issue there between, whether that's they can share that account at all or whether it's some other thing. Who knows?
Yeah. Cool. I'm keen to give it a go, and whether it gets controller support on the iPad or Switch, that's probably where I'll play it.
Yeah.
So you've been playing anything else, or?
That's about it, I think. Yeah.
Nice. Just before we finish that, how many hours do you put into it, you reckon, roughly? You put have you put like 2 hours into it, or like 10 hours? Or?
Oh, Jesus, no more than that. Holy shit.
50 hours.
I'd argue it would be around about that.
Yeah, you've been playing it on the phone and stuff when you've been going out and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the great part about it is I can play it on my computer and then I can go to bed and fucking
Awesome. Yeah, because we can play it together and stuff too. Yeah,
it's co-op.
Yeah,
You just run around and kill things.
Should do that. Yeah, I can kill things.
Yeah,
I can press A and B.
Yeah,
Bit of Y and X together.
That's pretty much what it is. It's just like E and Q or some shit like that. E and Q or buttons on phone. Yeah,
just like slap the phone. Yeah, nice.
I've been playing co-op. It's good.
Yeah,
just run around the world.
Yeah. So stuff I've been playing. I talked about it a bit last week, but I've gone through and finished the World of Light and Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Really enjoyed it. Like I said last week, I like when Ultimate first came out. All it was about is just playing with friends and unlocking the characters, and I just wasn't in the mood just to sit down and play by myself. And it's only like now that it's been 2 years later where I'm actually like, all right, I'm actually in the mood for it because I wanted some comfort food, but I actually wanted to finish something as well. Mm-hmm. So I went through and 100% of it. A lot of fun. There was some, like a lot of the matches, it takes me like 20 seconds, like they're real easy or whatever. But there was like some matches where I'm like, how did this get past QA? Like this is bullshit. Yeah. There's one for Dr. Wily and you had to verse 8 Metal Mega Man 2 at a time.
Yeah,
and they were just like ridiculously hard because like you couldn't knock them back. And I actually Googled it. I'm like, well, all right, I need a strategy to beat this thing. And like people, like I went to the subreddit and people like saying the exact same thing. Like, what the hell is wrong with this? Who put this in the game? Because all of a sudden you just get to this fight where it's just like stops you. I'm like, all right. And all I did, I changed my character to Kirby and I just did his up B. But higher, just like hitting them because it was a stamina battle. So just like constantly doing that, they can't really hit you too much. You're just constantly doing that, and that's how I ended up beating it. But it was just like ridiculous.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'm really glad that I got back to it and got to finish it. I got to like the end, and there's like 3 different endings for it.
Yeah.
Have you finished it? Have you gotten through it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 different endings. Was it one good? It was like one good, one bad, and then like the true.
Yeah. It's cool. Like I guess spoilers for the end, but it's cool how you actually. I knew this before, but you get to play as Master Hand and like beat all the characters. I reckon that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Which was like a kind of like an almost like an Easter egg thing when it came to like the melee glitch.
Yeah,
how you could play as Master Hand. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I just felt myself as just like, all right, just like you're just like almost mashing buttons because you're not that familiar with the controls, but like each attack's doing enough to like help you win pretty much. Yeah. It's like slapping them back and forth and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm on the mission to get all the spirits in the game. I've got I think I've got like 1,100 out of 1,400 and so I'm getting there, but it's getting to like the stage now where it's like you need to do some of the harder stuff to get them, do the merging, do the spirit boards and that. And for the first time ever, I've actually like ran out of currency because like usually I'm just like playing game after game and I'm just like earning money. And every now and again I'm like, oh, I'll check the shop. Oh, there's some music and buy it. And that was pretty much it. But now it's like I've got no money and I'm not like doing rounds. So yeah, so I'm actually like doing like all of like the traveling, like you can put different spirits in to actually like go into caves and get resources and all that. Like sort of, I guess it's like very mobile-esque how you're putting them in. You got to wait like 2 hours real time to get all the currency out. You're like, yeah. So I put that on rest for a bit because I'm like, all right, this is it's getting like that real OCD side of me where I'm like, all right, I just want to get it finished, but it's so much work that it's not going to happen overnight type of thing.
No.
So I put it down on Tuesday and I had a other look into my backlog and I'm playing through Link's Awakening. I put it on hold last year because it came out late in the year and I was like, I'm not in the mood for this type of Zelda game at the moment, so I put it on hold. And the idea was to play it like around March, early in the year. And it sort of never happened because, other stuff going on. I had an engagement party and all that planned and all that, didn't I?
Yep.
There's a lot going on. Coronavirus.
Corona time.
Yeah, setting off, a lot of things happen. So
it did.
Jumping back into it now, I'm only like probably 4 hours or so into it. So I'm not restarting again. I'm not wasting that time. So I pulled up a guide straight away to like, sort of find where I'm going again. And like just diving back into that game, it's just so obtuse. even like getting around, like you think it'd be like pretty simple, just like going to another part of the map, but you like you go and there's a dead end, and you got to go all the way back and go around here and go in there. And there was a dungeon I was doing, and I needed 3 keys to get to the boss. Yeah. And like I'm missing one. I'm like, all right, I don't have time, so I just like looked up a guide to see where that 3rd key was, and basically had to like kill all the enemies around like the staircase. And like, how would I have known that if I didn't look that up? Because it's kind of like you've got to like I kill all the enemies, but then you go around and one of like the blobs like spawns there, like comes out of nowhere. So then when you kill the last one, the key appears. I'm like, all right. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so I'm playing through that. It's just really obtuse, and it just is it as beautiful as it looks. It still feels like a really old Game Boy game. But I'm keen to get it finished. Just to, check it off my list.
I haven't even got it.
Haven't you? Yeah,
I still haven't picked it up.
Yeah,
the thing is like, okay, I love me some Zelda. I really love it. I love it very much. But it was one of those things like, yeah, I can pass.
Yeah.
Like I've beaten it on Game Boy. It looks very pretty. And then I think I got the sour taste in my mouth when you had it here and it was playing one day just before we started the podcast. And then I picked it up. I'm like, what is that blurry edge around the screen? That bugs me so much.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And then that was it. I was just like, all right, I'm not overly interested in picking this up.
Everything's blurry to you already, let alone when the game blurs it even more.
Right. I mean, take these off and there we go. Now you're a blur.
I'm like, I look like Link's Awakening now.
Yeah, you look like Link's Awakening.
It just blurs my the outside, but it's really focused on my face, so maybe it'll help you.
I mean, if I really focus on your face, it's fine. But like everything else around you is like...
It's like a real cinematic shot on a camera.
It actually kind of is. Like, yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's pretty much kind of what it is. It's like earlier when you were fiddling around with the camera, I noticed that like I started moving my beer in front and it was still blurry. I put it down, then all of a sudden it's like, yes, there's a beer there. Sort of focused on. I'm like, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's my eyes. Yeah, so like if you take this back here, it's blurry.
Yeah, you put it in the foreground and boom, she focused.
Yeah. Like a camera should do, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it should. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I'm sort of getting through my backlog, and there's I'm sort of trying to get Link's Awakening and maybe even get through a bit of Astral Chain before Pikmin 3 and Age of Calamity come out later this year.
AOC.
That's pretty much what we're waiting for. So without further ado, let's talk about some Minecraft Steve and some of the Age of Calamity stuff in the news segment. Are you ready, Bryce? Hold on to your hat, mate. Oh, you're going to lose it. Ooh. Woohoo! Yeah!
Pika, pika! Is that all?
High five for my friend.
My body is still.
So, Bryce.
I was going with the throwaway effect and then
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
No.
So, Bryce, I know you're super excited for this one. So,
Oh, boy.
this is actually this is like a week old now. This week has gone real slow, but real fast at the same time.
This year has been like that.
Yeah, I know we say that every week. We say it every week. But Bryce, Minecraft Steve is joining Super Smash Bros. On October 13th. So without getting into all the details straight away, what's your initial thought of Steve joining Super Smash Bros.?
Look, and I said this in our Discord as well. Like, I played Minecraft I've played it for over 10 years. Well, 10 years, yeah. So like I was in TAFE at the time that I discovered what the fuck it was.
I was
17.
He studied it at TAFE.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, studied Minecraft. They're just like, there's this new game called Minecraft. There is now a course for it. I've played Minecraft. Like, I played it pretty religiously when it came out, and I played it on and off pretty much my entire time since it's come out.
Yeah.
It's a great game, and I believe it deserves representation in Smash. But at the same time, I think some of the decisions made regarding it and maybe just how it looks in the game is a bit too jarring to me, personally.
Yeah, so So this is coming from the guy who, when we were playing Super Smash Bros. Brawl, if I played as Mr. Game & Watch, Bryce would be like, oh, I can't follow the animation. Like the animation of Mr. Game & Watch just like, I guess
Bugs the shit out of
just
me.
the 2 frames just really annoyed him. So seeing like Steve, like it's not the same thing obviously, but it's just like a really
Clunky
weird
movement.
clunky movement like it is in obviously Minecraft.
Minecraft, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so when it comes to that, it is just like looking at things that he does is almost jarring to me, and probably even more so because I feel like as Game & Watch has been in recurring Smash entries, he has slowly sort of melded into the game and felt more natural.
Yeah, they gave him bombs, constant bombs in the new one. So,
That's so stupid.
oh God, I hate it.
You didn't even know that, and I was just like, oh yeah, I could do this.
Just like, what is it? Is down A? Just bomb.
Side A.
It's his side A. Jesus
Nah.
Christ.
And I just jump. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Oh,
But anyway, they found a way for him to mesh, and they meshed him like pretty well over the years. And I think he's sort of in a much better place than he was before. And I think Ultimate's pretty clued in on that. But my God, simple animations and Steve and the way Steve looks, and just in the midst of everything else, even like with Game & Watch, I think it's sort of just like it is a little black pixel man, and it can sort of get away with just looking like that wacky
yeah.
because it is just that little black pixel man. But Steve is not that, and neither is like the other Minecraft skins. I think everybody's taking a big friggin' laugh at Stumpy Enderman because it's really strange.
Yeah. Yeah, and man, the zombie, Alex, and different iterations of Steve.
And Alex, yeah.
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 Both of them, yeah.
So, just looking at it from sort of the perspective of like, the double jump jars me. The fact that they made it the normal walk cycle jars me. The, just little things like that. I think like looking up, like the taunts and stuff like that. Why did they give him a tea bag? I don't know. It was a little bit weird.
A tea bag. Oh, like a crouch down type of thing.
Because like you
I
could.
thought you meant like an actual tea bag.
you could.
Like a cup of tea.
You could press down on like the D-pad, and it's just like it does like the thing.
Yeah, because that's what people do in the game, I guess. Like,
Yeah, they
just-
do.
Yeah.
They do.
So that's just taken from the culture of Minecraft, which
I get.
pretty smart.
Which
Yeah.
I get, but I was just like, And then block building mechanics and stuff like that. As people have pointed out, Steve has 6 ways to ledge guard.
Oh, his ledge guard game is going to be.
And that is disgusting. That is terrible. Like anybody that you could throw off a ledge like Little Mac, I feel sorry for you because
Yeah, just like the side B, like the punch. It won't do anything. Just put up a wall. Bye.
yeah, it's so sad. And like just stuff like that I think is also I think it's very creative and very cool, and like the mining system and how it works different on different terrain depending on, or if it's static on Omega. I think that's all really cool, and I think like stuff like that is really neat, and that's great. But the fact that the dev team, and I think this is the thing that irks me more because of probably the time that we're in, like, with coronavirus and the teams having to work apart, and just, it seems, I'll talk about this part in a second, but anyway,
Yeah.
They had to change over 100 maps for Steve and
Yeah.
the Minecraft.
So,
crew.
like in the presentation, Sakurai said, thank the programmers because they had to reprogram all the levels to work for the block mechanic, which is like laying down blocks and just all of the things that sort of work with Steve and Alex, which is pretty like it's not going to like affect like the stages. They're going to look the same as they did before, but it's just going to obviously not break when you play as Steve or someone.
Yeah, but that is massive. Like they could have just done the mining mechanic and just kept it stagnant like they do on Omega stages, and I think anybody would have been happy. But the fact that the dev team went through so much just to make sure that it works like down to a T with how Steve is as a character.
I just think that's a part of Smash Brothers, just full stop though. Like just the amount of detail in every single little aspect is just massive.
Now listen, yeah, and that's not what I'm disagreeing with. I think what I'm disagreeing with more is the way that Sakurai presented himself during the presentation. Like it could just be me, And like a lot of people are like, oh well, this is our turn. You know, he got to put Byleth in Smash,
And Byleth was awesome.
Yeah, it's like no offense, guys, but you know, Byleth might have been excited to be work on Byleth, but Nintendo made that decision. They have for the entire pass and any characters they've brought back or brought in. Nintendo has been.
I love how like he introduced this, being like, yeah, we sat down in the meeting. Nintendo's like, can you put him in? We're like, oh, fucking, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much how we got in.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, but the thing is like he sort of droned on about it, and it's kind of just sounded like it was a technical nightmare, and not being able to work in a physical environment with his team was stupid challenging.
Yeah.
And you know, it was probably not something that he was willing to work on, but he did it anyway because Nintendo have said, just got to do it. It's not like he's working under Iwata anymore, of whom he had a close relationship or whatever with. He's now working under somebody else completely, who he probably does not share a similar relationship with. So if it was Iwata, I'm sure he probably would have been like, okay, for you, my friend, type of thing.
I will put Steve in there for you, my friend.
Pretty much. But now it just feels very...
It's still his game, though. He wants, like, the best experience and, like, the characters people want.
And I appreciate that.
So I don't think, even with Iwata around, I don't think it's going to be like, this is for you. It's going to be like, I want to make the best game possible. And if you put in, like, a character that's half-assed, especially, like, one like Steve, like, potentially this could bring in a lot of interest from younger players or players that play Minecraft, potentially. To pick up the game. So it is pretty important that the characters implemented well. And I guess just for my impressions, I was I'm not a big Minecraft fan, but I think just like the implementation of Minecraft in Smash is just really exciting. Even just from the fact that the franchise is now represented in there, it's like even just like talking about the stages, like there's like 4 different planes on the stage, how it rotates, like a lot of the stages do now. And how like you can break the trees, it reveals platforms. Like there's a lot to it, and I'm just really excited to sort of play that. And like with the music as well, how he sort of described like there's no music from Minecraft because Minecraft's a very passive game, and this is a fighting game, so we don't want you to fall asleep when you're meant to be fighting one another. So there's like stuff from Minecraft dungeons and like remixes and stuff, which is actually really cool because you don't really think about that. Like often when he talks about the music, you're like, oh, cool, there's music. But you don't actually think about it when it's a franchise that necessarily isn't like an action game. You don't necessarily think about that much. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think just like all of the stuff that's packed into this character, because if like it's like any character, I've come to expect it now. But with Sakurai and the team, it's really they really go all out to make the characters like as good as they can be. Like if you say Minecraft Steve, like I guess he walks around, he hits them with the axe. He does like certain moves from Minecraft and that's it. But like no, like you're actually like gathering materials like you do in the game. You've got a crafting table where you're upgrading your weapons. There's like multiple stages, all the way up to diamond. Like it's just ridiculous the amount of stuff you can do. You can put down TNT. You can make a little track with redstone. You can jump on it to detonate it. It's just so much stuff in it. Where like I watched like a 45-minute presentation on like one character in Super Smash Bros. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much took all that time for him to get the message across, like everything he could, like the character could do.
Yeah.
So that's just like how much detail is in this one character. And like, just seeing how far this series has come, like from the original Smash Bros, like, you compare like Link, Pikachu, Mario together, like, they're very basic characters, with Mario being like, kicking and punching, Pikachu with its like special attacks, like Thunder Shock and all that, and Link with his bombs and his bow and arrow and all of that stuff. But now like comparing like Little Mac to a Joker and like all these characters are introduced, like especially in like Hero, like just all of these characters, there's so much to them, which I don't know if they're adding too much where it's not so much a pick up and play.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I've been playing Smash for years, so I'm quite happy for them to be introducing a bit more nuance to characters. But yeah, it's really cool.
Look, yeah, and I don't doubt any of that, and I do realize the passion, and Sakurai likes Minecraft himself. It's not.
He's playing it. He's showing us his house he built.
Yeah, it's not a secret. He likes it, but it is very cool and all that. Just as always, they are trying to stay as accurate to the representation as possible and everything like that. But I just think like something like this was too hard of a project to take on during this time. And by the way he made it sound when he was talking about it, it was like, they kept asking me to do it, so I basically just said, "Fine, I'll be a techno time wizard and do it." You know, at the end of the day, and then just tried to make it work. And I feel like that's probably put a lot of stress on the development team, and including him, who is quite frankly a perfectionist. To be completely honest with you, like it's quite obvious that he tries to keep as well.
I think
to the source material as possible.
I think most game producers and directors are, because I guess it's kind of their job to like have everything organized and
but somebody that's playing with other people's assets, like that it is important for him to keep that.
It's like when you drive someone else's car, you're going to be extra careful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
It's the same thing, but I think this was like a very ambitious project, to take on during a time where it's a lot harder to work as a team, and it does seem like he. When it was revealed, the 4 minutes after the reveal trailer, that's pretty much all he talked about. Was God damn, they think I am some sort of magic wizard.
And he is.
He's like, I am, but that's not the point. I'm tired.
Yeah.
It does feel like that this put a lot of strain on the dev team, and I'm a little bit worried about how it's gonna
What I was interested about as well in the the full presentation they did a few days later, I forgot the month he said, but he was recording it like months ago. Like the gameplay we saw was for months ago, which is interesting as well. Like how much of that gameplay sort of changed. Like obviously the edge guarding type of mechanic with the blocks is something that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that looks scary. Because like Pikachu, Little Mac, Pit, like those characters where their sort of up B doesn't do a whole lot. That's very scary for them.
Yeah.
So whether that will be sort of balanced out a bit before then, not quite sure. But
I think that's one of the scariest things.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to playing them. It's going to be out next week, so we'll be talking about it
then.
Whether we do a normal timed episode next week, I'm not quite sure.
We still need to figure out a pizza party thing.
Yeah, we need to do the pizza party. That might be a December-ish thing.
Yeah, I think so at this point.
Anyone who's waiting for that pizza party.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Pizza party. And just to finish up the Smash talk, so they announced some Mii Fighter costumes as well. What have we got here? I had it right here. But anyway, damn it, where'd he go?
I don't know.
All right, so Travis Touchdown is a Mii Fighter costume. So a lot of people were hoping that he was going to be a character included in this DLC pass.
Bump.
He's not. No. It's funny because Brian Altano actually posted like he basically said like it's a travesty that Travis Touchdown isn't going to be in Smash, and Suda51 actually retweeted it with a thumbs up. It's really funny. You can imagine Suda's like, yeah, I'm wearing a bloody Mii costume. It's bullshit. Yeah. So I guess how do you feel about that? Do you really care?
I don't have an attachment to No More Heroes.
I don't either, but you could see him being a fun character to play as.
Sure.
And like a lot of people are saying, it's a rated M game. It's like, well, there's literally Bayonetta there, so...
Yeah, guys, you're forgetting that there is a literal lady who makes her entire costume out of her own hair, and that hair is also used in her magic, therefore she gets naked every time she uses it.
Yeah, and like you just like hold down the directional stick, and she just like crouches down with her butt just perched up in the air.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't think that's the reason. I think they're just looking at... Like, they just announced Minecraft like being a part of the game. Do you reckon No More Heroes has the same clout they're probably looking for? Don't think so.
No.
Just as long as, I'm sort of happy with any franchise being a part of it that isn't something that's already been done before. Like, I know like Byleth, when they introduced those characters, it wasn't necessarily the most exciting announcement, but Byleth is my favorite DLC character. They're the most fun I have actually playing with them. So there's sort of there's two different categories. I guess there is like actually fun to play with characters, and there's like just big announcements. Like this was a big announcement, a big addition to the game, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be like my favorite character I'm going to be coming back and maining necessarily.
No, yeah.
But with like Fire Emblem, I'm like, not a big announcement, but one of my favorite characters. So, and I do feel like a lot of people on Twitter, they're like, they're waiting for the announcement, and they're like, they get it, and it's either a disappointment or it's not, but they don't actually play the game. So it's like a lot of people saying like it's bullshit, like Fire Emblem, there's already that many Fire Emblem characters. It's like, well, even if it was like the most extreme awesome character you've ever seen, you don't even play the game. You're just there for the announcement.
Pretty much.
Like the hype.
And the thing is with Byleth as well is that it's very well proven in Smash Brothers that, Fire Emblem characters are often the most played characters in Smash throughout history. And like that smashes how Fire Emblem even regained any sort of clout in the West. So
yeah, definitely, because the first games on the Famicom weren't released here until later on. So
it's proven it's proven that Smash promotes Fire Emblem very, very well. So it does say something that putting Byleth in Smash only seems a little bit more logical when you think of it that way.
Yeah, and like it feels I don't know how it feels to you, but having like a brand new Fire Emblem game, 3 houses on Switch, and then that not being represented in Smash just feels weird.
Yeah,
it feels like they need to update it with like the series going on. Like I'm not opposed to that, but yeah, people are just got hyped up and like, oh, we got a Joker, we got Cloud. Like they're looking for those big announcements to just knock their socks off, but at the end of the day, they're not even going to play the game. So
no, that's right.
Yeah.
They're just like, yo, Cloud, let's go. And then they go back to their phone.
Let's go.
They're like, oh, I'm going to play Aether Rivals.
Yeah. Aether Rivals. That's exactly what they're going to be going back to.
Yeah. It's like, all right, Smash announcement over. I'm going to go play Aether Rivals.
Oh, yeah.
I love me some Aether Rivals.
I can't say I do. I've never played it. Have you played it? Aether Rivals? Big Aether Rivals fan? Yeah. All right, bro. So moving on. So we got like no new stories really this week, but we've got 2 more. So this is from Vux.net, and Super Nintendo World has a new opening date in Japan. So the article reads, Nintendo has announced a new opening date for Super Nintendo World attraction at Universal Studios in Japan. It will now open in spring 2021. That's Japan's spring for us Australians. So sometime before the end of March and the end of June. Super Nintendo World will now be open before the Olympics, just as it was this year before. Before you know what happened. If you happen to be in Japan or are willing to risk traveling there, however, in October, something else is opening earlier. A Mario Cafe and store will be opening October 16th during a featuring food and merchandise. We're counting down the days until it opens, and we can go.
We need to plan a trip for Japan still.
So just like seeing the news and seeing the pictures that have come out, I'm really keen to do. I've wanted to go to Japan for years anyway.
Me too. Yeah.
So I think like rolling this into like a bit of a trip, even if you can justify them, all right, we'll take the camera, we'll do some content or something. I think that'll be a lot of fun. We should definitely have it on the cards for the next few years when it's back to normal and safe to do so. I would love to go.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we'd talked about it plenty of times anyway. Where we're just like, yeah, we'll go.
Because could we get away going together? Because I know my partner, she's not that interested in Japan.
Never's Jade.
Never's Jade. So I reckon we could make it work.
We'll just go for a bro trip.
We do like 3 weeks or something. Go to like Kyoto. Go to Universal Studios. We could just do like a bit of a trip. Go to Ishihabara, do all the retro video game stuff. And
so love to do that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's the thing is like it's not even just like about like the video game culture and stuff as well. No,
of course, yeah.
Even just the historical culture.
Yeah, like
it'd be cool to see.
We'll have to line it up with the time of year, but I would love to go to Kyoto when all like the blossom trees are blooming and stuff.
The cherry blossoms.
Blossoms, yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It only happens a short amount every year, so
you have to
catch
be lucky, I guess.
Time.
Yeah.
So if you can round down that date and get over there at the time that it happens, yeah. But God, yeah, I'd love to go. Oh yeah.
With the date being spring 2021, do you reckon that will happen just with everything that's going on? I know obviously Japan was hit pretty hard. I'm not quite up to date on how they're sort of traveling at the moment with regards to getting everything in order.
They're sort of neither here nor there in Japan. It's a surprise because they're very much the work culture, and Japan is very, very small in terms of like, how people get about. Obviously, like trains are always full and stuff like that, and so it's actually quite a surprise that they managed to get away off as well as they have for what it's worth. But yeah, whether I think the most important thing is sort of rounding out what happens by the end of next year, whether like we have like a vaccine that's already going to start making the rounds or whatever. Because if that happens, I'll be like first available, time I can get a vaccine. I'll be in there, done.
Bang, off to Japan.
Pretty much, yeah. I want the ability to go out and do these things, so why not?
Yeah.
It is unfortunate because you know what, like when it was planned for this year, before Rona hit at the start of the year, like it was on the sort of things of like we could organise that and do that. But I'm glad we didn't start organising anything, otherwise we'd be stuck where we are now and being even more disappointed than we already are.
Bloody oath we would be.
Especially
with if we had no travel insurance or something, which we would because we're responsible adults. Probably.
That's right,
yeah. So no, I reckon we should definitely actually, instead of like talking about it, we should like in the next year, obviously suss out whether it's a 2022 thing or whatever, but we should definitely try and make it happen to get to this thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be a lot of fun. Like we'll be like such stupid dumb kids just like in Nintendo world, just like, yay, just all the sounds and sights that just like make us so warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah. No, we'll have to start planning it. Seeing what the price of like specific things are and sort of just like rolling out a mat of what we need to do.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. We'll do a live episode from there. Just like can't hear anything. It's just kids screaming on roller coasters and
Jesus.
So last up is this is from Vooks.net and the article is Treehouse Live Recap. Pikmin 3 Deluxe demo is out and Age of Calamity, Koroks and more. The article reads, earlier this morning, Nintendo held a Treehouse live stream showing off Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Pikmin 3 got a massive 40 minutes of the presentation dedicated to it, which is, a lot, actually.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen Pikmin 3 before, it wasn't brand new for you, aside from 7 minutes of footage from some of the new side stories, which you can find below. There are also Pikmin 3 demo hitting the eShop at some point today, which is out now. If you want to go and give it a go and give it a download on the eShop.
Oh, yeah.
There was also a 20 minutes of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity shown. It went over some of the gameplay elements from Breath of the Wild, making its way into the game. More importantly is that there will be Koroks to collect in the game. Hopefully the reward for finding them will be just as good. Which is
Let's not talk about the reward.
That's a bit of sarcasm there. We also got a further look at some pre-apocalypse locations in the game, including Lon Lon Ranch. It appears to be modeled exactly how it was in Ocarina of Time. It's just this is going to be. I guess I don't have too much more to say that we've already said before, but it's just going to be really fun to go back and have a look at the story before Breath of the Wild and some of these locations, because like coming across Lon Ranch in the game, it's like a really cool moment. Like, oh shit, this was
Lon Lon Ranch.
Yeah, it's like you come across like a lot of those areas. There's like multiple references to mainly all the 3D Zeldas. So actually like going back and like seeing Lon Lon Ranch, I guess functioning in this Breath of the Wild universe, it's going to be really cool. And like some of the characters they've shown off, just like obviously young Impa and some of the other characters. I forgot the names. What were the names again in that trailer?
Robbie and Pura.
Yeah. Just it's just cool seeing these characters, 100 years ago in the past when they're actually like young, functioning human beings, rather than Impa, who's just like, all right, I've had enough.
Fucking Robbie and his theme popping up. I was like, yes, just like holy crap. And then like it's interesting because Pura they actually did go back and use some of her older designs as a standpoint for her design in it as well.
Okay, yeah.
So like when they initially designed her, I remember from like the concept books and stuff like that, she was sort of like set up with more of a punk rock aesthetic to sort of meet the same vibe as Robbie, because Robbie's very much like, I've got the fancy Elvis hairdo.
Yeah.
And, have the guitar theme for myself type of thing. So she was set up to be sort of like in the same vein of like, I'm like a punk rock kid. But they did kind of keep that for her, which was very interesting. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting to see. I'm like, yes, because I really like that design. So, there you go.
So, out of 10, how keen are you for Age of Calamity?
Oh, very keen.
Very keen. Out of 10.
Yeah, that's right. The thing is as good as, Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be, as we all, know. I think this is going to be very much like the stocking filler that gives us like all the info we needed to know about this Hyrule before it was destroyed. And I think that's almost integral to sort of like taping together what will happen between 1 and 2. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, seeing all these places, not destroyed and sort of established, and, seeing how sort of important they were to the actual structure of Hyrule overall, whether it be like towns or, Lon Ranch, as said before, or how maybe Zora's Domain was, or Gerudo Town was, or, just things like that. I think that's all really important to sort of tying together how big of a deal the Calamity actually was for the world, and how, going forward in Breath of the Wild 2, whether the game still runs off flashbacks or whatever, or we see towns like actually being built around us, as we progress.
I'm sort of curious about this too, because I always assumed in Breath of the Wild, I always think like the writing was like, I guess like the reason for the apocalypse is because it's an open world game that's running on Switch and Wii U, so there wasn't quite like the horsepower to have like heaps of towns and heaps going on. So like just the reason why it was very open and not like a heap going on was because of the power it's running on. And now with this different genre, which is an open world game, they can actually put that power that's not used into doing more stuff in the world, like with the towns and that. So I wonder if in Breath of the Wild 2 there will be like rebuilt towns, and it will be like a built up areas in there.
I think it's possible, and I think the proof in the pudding is probably Tarrytown.
Yeah,
in the first game, I think Tarrytown was very much like an experimental type of thing that they sort of would try to manage with, and it didn't seem to fuck with the game too much. So I think it mostly comes down to what they can fit in via coding, and they'll probably try and do the best they can to sort of flesh that out a bit more and make it more of a thing.
Because the only part of the game that like really struggled was where like you got your Master Sword, like that game they just chugged where it was, because there was so much going on with the grass and everything in that
Korok Forest, yeah,
in that fairly confined area. So yeah, that's the only bit where it's sort of like you noticed it. They wanted frames.
They wanted to make it look really pretty, because it was supposed to be like, the sacred forest with the sword and, all that stuff. And that's great and everything, but, you don't need that everywhere, realistically.
No, you don't need those frame drops everywhere.
No. It'd be really cool to sort of get, if we get like a Switch Pro and we get like a graphics upgrade package for like Breath of the Wild, and then like having the option to see, all that stuff. Like the more I think, here's the thing, the more I read into, how consoles are sort of going forward and how like TV prices are coming down and stuff like that, I think it's very possible we could actually be seeing a 4K Switch, like just sort of doing some reading into it, because I'm sort of like, I should probably get a 4K TV if I'm going these next gen consoles. So the plan is like the TV we've got in the lounge room, which is about six years old now. Once that phases out, I'll just go and get a 4K TV for these new consoles. Yeah,
because like with my TV, I originally upgraded my TV to like a 55-inch for Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. Like in 2013, I upgraded the year before, but like, all right, I need the thing that will, give me the best refresh rate and everything. So that's when I got it then. But now it's still like a great looking TV. But if I actually got a 4K TV, it'll probably like blow my brains out, I reckon, just with how clear it is.
Well, my TV is only 1080i. It's not even 1080p.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I'm gonna be seeing quite a significant upgrade, but I won't upgrade until the TV is actually dead. Like, there's no point. So it's sort of just like, but seeing how accessible the 4K TVs are now, like, because I looked at the prices of them for like a Sony, and then they're in the $1,000 range, or you can go for cheaper brands that are sort of more 600. That's not too bad, really.
Yeah, not at all.
The TV in my lounge room is 1080i. I rented it when it was worth $1,000. So that says a lot. So I'm sort of really keen on that prospect of, maybe a 4K Switch could happen. And it would be nice to see like Breath of the Wild sort of updated with texture packs so that the world does look a bit more like Korok Forest, but still runs in 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
It would be cool to see that.
Like seeing all the stuff that people are doing with the Wii U emulators with Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
It makes me sort of think like, now wouldn't it be cool and very anti-Nintendo if they were going to take like the Sony approach to like Horizon, where they also release it on PC and they have it like with like the bells and whistles of a PC, you know, like wide monitor support and 4K and like all the nice stuff on there. Like if it doesn't have to be every game. Obviously, if you're releasing like Fire Emblem or something on PC, it's not going to benefit that much. But I feel like Breath of the Wild is the one game where I'm like, I would like the frame rate and the
to
graphics
see things at their best.
Yeah, I would like to see things at their best. So, and like, you know, they're only going to get another $80 out of me. So
That's right. Yeah.
I guess that could be a question for the audience too. Like, what would you guys think of Breath of the Wild or even other Nintendo first-party games coming to PC and in a even weirder world coming to, I don't know, Xbox or something? Because with a lot of the Xbox stuff, we're seeing Xbox support Nintendo, well, not support them, but putting stuff onto their platform, whether it is like Ori or even Minecraft, but that's on everything. And we've got 2 characters from them in Smash Bros, which is pretty awesome. So it would be cool to be like, hey, you know, it's almost been 4 years at this point, like an enhanced version of Breath of the Wild on Xbox.
That would be so
It
cool.
would be cool, but it's just so not Nintendo, is it?
No, it's not. I do kind of wish that they would play their cards a little bit more and just sort of. I think when it comes down to the end of it, I think very much where the way the game's going is it's going to be like it doesn't matter what box you play on. I think it's coming to that point.
That's the thing though. Like Nintendo wants that to matter because they want you to play on their box.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, you know,
Same with PlayStation.
I'm not saying I don't want a Nintendo box either. Like, I definitely do want a Nintendo box, and if the Switch has anything to say about it, they'll have my money every time because that console keeps me playing like wherever I go. But you know, it would be nice to sort of just natively have that support, something that's a little stronger. And whether the new Switch thing that's sort of rumored to be in the mill comes out, and that's what it's going to be. Which, you know what, I think they do have to kind of pull their stops out if they're going to do this, because obviously it's not going to be a new 3DS type of upgrade where it's just like, oh, here's a bit of extra RAM, mate. There you go, pack that in your stocking. You know, it's definitely not going to be like that. So, and to have something that supports 4K and extra graphics and like all this support would be good. But, you know, in the future, if they could sort of sort something out with Microsoft where they have like a Nintendo subscription service or something that's like exclusive to Microsoft and Nintendo, where it's like,
Yeah. So I'm like thinking like just like the smallest little thing, and that's still not likely to happen, which is like, here's a 4-year-old game that's, you know, using your power of your hardware. Here you go. Hopefully it brings people over to us to play the sequel. That's all I'm thinking. I think a subscription service is like, even for like old games, like Super Nintendo games, I think that's too much. But yeah, I mean, like I'll be all about seeing Nintendo sort of branch out and be on other platforms. But yeah, as the type of Nintendo at the moment who's super successful with there's really no reason to do it. No. So
I'm just hoping partnerships lead places. I think that's like the moral of the story.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So Ross, I think that brings us to the end of the episode, my friend.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. Ross checks his watch.
Oh, look at the time. It's wrist the clock. No.
Hair past a freckle. Oh, it is too.
Nah, hair before a freckle.
Before a freckle?
Yeah. Hair before.
Every wrist tells a different time.
Yeah, it does. That's right. That's why we've got Woolworths. Everyone's different.
Yes, that's right. So everybody, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 162. If you enjoy the show, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And don't be like that person. I noticed our ranking went down from 5 out of 5 to 4.9 out of 5.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. So now we're packing up. This show is finished. This was the last episode ever.
Who did it, guys? Who
did it?
162 episodes. Come on. Really?
You know, you get that though. So if you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can follow myself at iRuby, you can follow Bryce at IVRevan, and you can follow the show at The House of Mario. If you'd like to join our Discord community, you can in the show notes below. There's an invite just for you who is listening to this right now. If you're listening to this on the stereo or in a car with multiple people, don't worry, it's for all of you guys too. Don't feel bad about it. Pull over into the Discord community, have a bit of a chat. It's all good. Ross nods his head, yes.
That's right, yes. The
Absolutely.
Discord community is our safe space.
It's our safe space. So don't interject negativity.
That's right.
So this week's Nintendo Jukebox is by Psychic Type, and it's titled Indigo Plateau. So it's a bit of a remix of basically red and blue music.
Beautiful.
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 So guys, until next week, the doors to the House of Mario are closed. Catch you later.
We'll be right back.